Hello, 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 and welcome to Relationship Rhetoric. I am your host, unapologetically Angela. I hope that everyone is feeling well. If you are in the Memphis area, you are feeling the energy in the atmosphere. It is rumbling outside. This has been a very interesting summer because the weather has definitely been, I don't know if this is even a word, but atmospheric. We've had storms and we've had extreme heat, but nothing consistent. So, as a Memphian, I appreciate it. It's very interesting, and I pay attention to what's going on in the universe. So I hope you're paying attention as well. Um, typically my topics on the show are about human relationships, intimate relationships, how people handle conflict, how people communicate, things of that nature, and even the single life, how single people handle their transition into being single, how do they handle the concept of love, and things of that nature. And there have been instances where I have devied into other topics that are very near and dear to me: autism, breast cancer, and even families, because I've done a series of just the dynamic of my own family. But this is also a topic that is has become very near and dear to me because I feel like it's a topic that people have a tendency to shy away from because of the emotion that's wrapped around it, because of just the thought process of it even happening. And in this part of my life where I have been an active caregiver and reminiscing on the fact that my mom has been a caregiver for a lot of the people in my family, the conversation about death and how I feel that that's something that we should talk about before it happens. Can we get comfortable with the concept and how to prepare for it? And what parameters do we need to put in place when it does happen? One of the ladies that is on the show, Brianna, I call her my almond joy. Um, she was the. This was a totally different, and I hope that I can. I never can get through this story without crying, but I think I'm gonna make it this time. But some of you don't know that my father died, passed, transitioned, going on 6 years ago, and things that you don't think about. You don't think about what happens to the body. Does somebody come and pick up the body? Do we take the body to? I mean, just not thinking. Does somebody come and pick up the body? Do we take the body? All of these things. And so while family and friends are gathering around where my father is, Brianna shows up. Here, did somebody tell you that my daddy died? But she was the person responsible for removing my father from where he transitioned to the mortuary. And I was so grateful. I was so overwhelmed and grateful to know that somebody that I knew, somebody that I loved, was taking care of my daddy. Stuff you don't think about, conversations you never have. So that is one of the main reasons why I have these two ladies on the show. Beth has just this calming spirit about death. It is just so interesting to hear her talk about it in such a caring way, in such an understanding way, without a flinch or change of posture. Rihanna's the same way. It comes out of their mouths like it's, hey, how you doing? So I found it very important for these two ladies that come from two perspectives of dealing with death to come and have a conversation, a community conversation, and how they got into it, and so forth and so on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I bring to the platform Bess Reynolds and Brianna Leverett. Hey. So thank you again, ladies, for being willing to share this part of your lives because it really is a part of your life. I just don't see it being possible for people to do what you ladies do and it not encompass your life. So what I would like to do first is I really would like for you to give a formal introduction and tell who you are, tell what your role is in this art of death process, and then going to come back because I want to know when did this pique your interest? Okay, so I'll let you decide on who goes first. Don't let me be the teacher and have to pick somebody, but I'll wait.
I'll go first.
Okay.
Um, so I'm I consider myself a new death doula, and but my relationship with death started when I was very, very young, and it's been an unusual experience. And growing up in the Catholic Church and then converting to Protestantism, all of my experiences with the other side weren't received very well. And so I buried this relationship that I had with my grandparents that visited me, experiences that, as a good Catholic girl, you're not supposed to have, and rejected it. I became fearful of it and had some pretty rough times as a teenager because of it. And it was always there. I always describe it as a door, where they're pounding on the door behind me, and I just refuse to open it. If I don't open it, then I don't have to deal with the experiences of understanding death in the way that I do. And I turned 50 a few years ago, and the universe was like, "We've waited long enough, girl. You've got a job to do. People need what you're able to offer them at that time of their lives or their families' lives." So, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's. I've entered into this kicking and screaming for the very reasons that you just suggested. Right? We're taught, we're raised, we're fashioned into thinking death is one thing, it's one experience. It's supposed to be a certain way. The whole dying and death process has one pigeonhole. And
Mm.
so, being able to be there for people who want to have a dignified death on their own terms
Oh wow. Okay.
is very important. It's that's very important to me.
Okay. Okay. Brianna, talk to me.
Right. This is the first time that I'll be introducing myself publicly, out of my mouth, um, as a licensed funeral director and embalmer for the state of Tennessee. Yeah. Ooh, death care started for me. Um, I want to say 2017.
Okay.
2017. When my great aunt passed. 2018. Um, and being her caretaker, um, to that time, I just felt like my job wasn't complete. I feel like there was something else that I needed to do. And because I connected with her before that time, when she actually expired, she didn't feel like just a body to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's when that became real to me. And my nurture still kicked in. Um, So yeah, I got a job with a funeral home, and they had the contract for the medical examiner's office. Um, that's how I got into the work as a removal tech, as the story you shared. Um, ooh, we Angela, I was over here. I was like, girl, keep yourself together, keep yourself together, keep yourself together. Um, but I am so grateful to be positioned in that place and at that time,
Mm-hmm.
um, because that's a great act of love and service for a friend. Um, and you have my deepest condolences always. But to be able to um, show that love, and and y'all know me, anybody who knows me, love is an action word.
That's right.
So to be able to show that and be that and give that comfort, it's transferable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And so being on the crime scenes, it's really high energy in the city. And that also became one of my missions to heal my city from the grave up.
Mm,
Because so much trauma happens, right? If energy is neither created nor destroyed, just transferred, that trauma, that hurt, that pain, all of that has to go somewhere.
right.
And so not only was it my duty to um transfer a decedent from their place of death to the medical examiner's office, but to nurture their spirit and kind of soothe it some. Um, yeah, during COVID, I was pregnant with Nia Marie, and I had an elder lady that I took care of until she died, and that was my first introduction to being a bereavement or a death doula. Um, yeah, and that was 2020. So the evolution has continued.
Yes, it has. It has. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so Beth, you are typically handling or dealing with more people who are in a hospice situation, correct?
Currently, yeah, I've in my study to become a death doula, and there's not a requirement, there's not a certification, but there are people who have much more experience than I do, who offer classes on how to do it, because it's comprehensive. It's not just sitting vigil. There's a lot to it. So most of those courses do not have any patient facing opportunities. So I started volunteering for Methodist Hospice, and that was one of the best decisions I've made. I mean, there's nothing in any book that can teach you how to be with the dying, because every experience is different, every family is different, um, every spiritual exchange is different, and it's it's been beautiful, beautiful. Yeah.
For both of you all, what has been your most challenging obstacle in the role that has been given to you?
Ooh, the
Well,
most. Go ahead,
Challenge.
babe.
yeah, I mean, for me, it's just accepting that this is my soul's purpose, because we can have well, three of us have talked about it before, right? And quite a bit. It feels very normal, but when people hear about your enthusiasm, like when I met Brianna for the first time, it was a fluke. You witnessed it, and it was like a lightning bolt came out of the sky, because all really that she said when I met her was that she was a mortician and a death doula. And it was like the room exploded. Like, here's this beautiful young woman who, like, I knew immediately she understood this in the way that I did. And I chased her around. Like, after I mean, I was like stuck to her the whole entire rest of the evening, followed her out, went outside together. It was like I call her my death sister. I found someone who understands that importance of it, that sacredness of it, that transitioning, honoring. It's a human experience, not a medical experience, not a technical experience. And I knew it right away. So accepting that, like, yes, this is something that is really a calling. Yeah, it's hard.
Okay. Brianna, what's been your challenge? What's been your obstacle?
One of my obstacles has been challenging and going up against institutions that still exist that are really outdated. So the funeral business is still heavily segregated. Um, when our people pass, we go to our folks.
That's right.
So when other people pass, they go to their folks, whether it's that they're religiously, that they're, color wise. We have our people that we have gone, and it's generational, right?
Exactly. I
So
agree.
it's those things where, like, it's just a system, you know. So when it comes to education, the first school I applied for was uh, John Gupton in Nashville, and my acceptance was rescinded because my locks were against their dress code. Um, no braids, no locks.
They sent you that in writing?
Oh, that's in writing. Hmm. So when you apply, you have to send a student photo.
Oh, wow.
You must have evidence of ears, your hair pulled back. You can't have braids, can't have ethnic hairstyles.
I don't understand what you mean, evidence of ears.
Right. I don't know. I guess they want, I don't know.
They need
That's
to
not
see your ears.
right. I'm like, what? But yeah, that's actually written. It's actually written. Um, I refuse to do anything different to my hair. Um, I tried to fight it as much as I could, but the Crown Act was not passed. And
Mm.
and Crown is creating a respectful something workplace, some about your hair, right? And not being able to be discriminated upon
Because of
based
your
on
hair. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it does not exist in Tennessee,
Of
and
course it does.
that's a private institution that is created and still operating under the traditions of their founders. And I, to them, do not fit the criteria of um, the generation that they wish to,
Yeah.
you know. So I went on down to Mississippi, where they are known to turn out great morticians. Um, and just being in the South, again, those systems, um, it's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just,
Yeah.
just
Wow.
know that there's a difference, and having to operate with that, even with the relationship with Bess and I, right,
Yeah.
which is which is very interesting because we challenge those systems. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we make it palatable. Oh, okay, you don't like it like this. Well, let's give it to you like this.
Yeah.
You know,
Like I said before, Brianna's the one that kind of keeps me centered there, right? Like I'm a little bit more worried about how, how am I going to be received? How is she going to be received? Mama bear comes up in me like, I don't think so. You're not going to treat Brianna that way. And she's like, no, there are going to be places, rooms for you to lead the discussion, and there'll be rooms for me to lead the discussion. And quite frankly, I know this is sort of metaphysical, but we have the same thing in common. We're born and we die,
yeah,
everything in between, right? Like, but those things, we have that in common. And and all the in between should not get in the way with how we choose to how families choose to come into this world, and how families, if they're able to, choose to leave this world. And all of it should be sacred, all of it should be honored, all of it should be an option. And we are definitely on the same page in that way.
Okay.
and I love how you said options because again, that was one of the challenges, traditions. For people to know that, hey, if you want to do it differently, we can, and you have every right to do it that way.
Yep.
And to know that there are options and local options to tap into. I love that.
I'm so
Yep.
glad you said that because that was about to be my next question. So, Beth, like just a scenario. Beth has talked to someone. She's been participating during the hospice process, and they have expressed to her, "This is how I want my transition ceremony process to go." Okay, so the family shares that information with you, Brianna. So you're selling to me that as funeral directors and so forth and so on, what we've been following is just tradition, and no one has just bucked the system to do something different as far as dying goes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. For the same people, that same reason why a lot of women give birth in hospitals, because um other options really don't seem like it's a thing or it
Mm-hmm.
can be done.
Yeah.
Um
Or
Okay.
there's this idea of what being respectful, like the idea
Mm-hmm.
of respecting the process of dying and death should look one way. You know, and this is about our mutual friend that just passed away. I mean, I got caught in the room with her dancing to jazz music, and she's toward the end of her life, and I'm holding her hand and I'm singing to her, and there's this crazy white woman in the hospital room dancing around to a lady that's not conscious, um, and talking to her about her granddaughter and her friends and her daughter, and thanking her for what I know about her, and from the outside of that hospital room, that looked weird.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't praying over her. I wasn't silent and morose. I was literally dancing with
Mm-hmm.
this, and that's strange. But okay, I'm willing to be that strange person that shows up and gives people permission to do this however you want to do it. What is the environment like? What of all the senses? How do you
mhm,
how do you want to meet people? Because we don't know what people can hear, what they can
Right.
feel, what they can sense, what kind of energy is exchanged. We don't really know that for sure. So do whatever, you know, how do you want it done for yourself? How do you want it done knowing your family members and who's there, us, to support that. Regardless of what tradition has to say about it, people need to know there are people there that are willing to do this your way
mhm.
and are willing to do it your way.
Yeah, and it's about honoring the spirit and the person, right? And I imagine that death would be scary for most, um, even when it's anticipated, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's about having a companion as you transition. Um, it's about setting the vibe in the environment and holding space and making things safe so a person can transition with ease, and also to serve as emotional comfort and a facilitator with the family as they navigate their grief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To be a friend, to offer emotional, mental, and spiritual comfort. Whether it's, hey, let me come over and cook a meal so you all can have time of respite. It looks like that. Sometimes it looks like playing your favorite song. It
Yeah.
sometimes it looks like doing a favorite dance. Sometimes it looks like apology and forgiveness. So that doesn't turn into regret.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that looks like just tending to the relationship physically for the last time and just maximizing um that moment. So it's it can be sound therapy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it could be incense. It could be essential oil diffuser. It
Mm-hmm.
could be drums. It could be jazz. It could be house.
Yeah.
Um, it could be whatever is tailored to that person. Um, Most of the time, if it's natural, like in a hospice setting, um, of course you couldn't possibly do like the taste element, but to engage all of the other senses so that somebody, even just holding a hand,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That's one thing I've noticed with hospice care. People are afraid to touch
They
old
are.
people, number one, and the dying as if it's
Yeah.
contagious. Well, it kind of is, because it's going to be all of our eventualities. Like that, they won't touch it, and not just the patting, like the stroking and
Yeah.
the fix. We all
mhm,
know women want their hair looking nice.
Yeah.
Like it's caring for someone, um, and not worrying about, like in hospice, there are guidelines, medical guidelines that go around hospice, and in this training that I got, which is minimal, but it was good to explain the phases of dying. Well, like you said at the beginning of this, people don't have these conversations with their families, and oftentimes, the dying process doesn't is not explained until people are already grieving, already
Mm-hmm.
anticipating heartbreak, losing someone. And so they forget, like, the hospice person could come in, a palliative care person could come in, a doctor could come in and explain it. But when they notice that their loved one is no longer eating, is no longer communicative, can't swallow, they want to do all of those things in the living process that works to make that better. Well, people stop eating. They stop needing to drink. Their breathing sounds differently, and that scares people because they
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Like, hearing someone explain it to you is not the same as watching your loved
Yeah.
one experience it.
Yeah.
To have someone there, non-medical, and hospice doctors and nurses are incredible because they deal with loss and death every day, and the families that surround it. To have someone there that's non-medical to also be there for support is, I think, really important, because hospice nurses and doctors are spread really thinly. And
Yeah.
then I haven't heard anyone talk in this small community talk about what Brianna does. Like, there's a bridge to that community too, to work together, and recommend. Like I now know, because of the conversations Brianna I have had, the vast amount of variety of how do you want to be buried or not buried, and I had no idea there were that many options to be able to have that discussion. A doctor's not going to have, or someone can't have that discussion with the patient.
Mhm.
So that, I
Mm.
mean, that's important. It's really important.
We get to show up and love on people without it being considered a HIPAA violation.
Mm.
Right. But even that pops up. That, for me, that popped up today. There's a sweet old man. He lost his wife. They've been married longer than I've been alive, and I'm old. So they were just in love, desperately in love, and he spent the night there almost every night for the last couple of weeks. And she passed Saturday. Was it Saturday morning? And Mr. Robert, such a precious man. And I asked, would it be weird if I contacted him, because I know he's lonely, and had coffee, because we chatted, a lot. And it came up. Let me check. It might be a HIPAA violation, which I understand. But I said, just tell him I'm interested, if he would like, give him my number.
Mm. Mm.
Those kind of things pop up, even
Yeah.
even still, because it is a traditional facility kind of thing that has to follow certain rules. So,
And on
Mm.
the funeral directing side, we're just taught that it's good etiquette not to leave the families you serve at graveside. Service doesn't end
right.
at graveside, and aftercare is good practice. So,
And that's why the conversations that Brianna and I had about our two areas, there needs to be a bridge. There needs to be this smooth, handing over of love and responsibility. Helping families, because every family handles this differently too.
Right.
Having options for them as well.
And it's so interesting because you go through all these birthing classes and these parenting classes. You
Yep.
go through all this counseling when you're getting ready to be married, and then there's someone checking on you. But
Yep.
nobody thinks that there should be counseling and people like you that talk to them during the process. A funeral director or representative say, "Hey, this is what to prepare yourself for. I'm here." I really need now to ask my mother, did they contact us afterwards? Did they check in on you once we left? Because I never would have imagined. Just because it's good practice does not mean that people are doing it, correct?
correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
And
love that.
and then I work with Methodist Hospice as a volunteer, and they have a residence, but they also have patients in nursing homes, and those two experiences are very different because when you're at the residence, it's very expensive. It's more expensive than the nursing home hospice care, but because there's nurses on staff, there's doctors on staff, but the those two experiences are very different, and um, and I've noticed between the visiting people there and at a nursing home that that people come in and they leave at a nursing home. They've got to see a certain number of patients. They are sweet and caring and loving, but they are working. And Medicaid only gives you so much time, to go in there and do what you need to do. And the lady I talked to today, she said, "You're the only person that comes to visit me besides my family."
Oh,
And she's been, and I mean, it's four walls.
yeah, yeah. One another question before I get to my last question. 'Cause now this is in any type of religious setting, people that are drawn to things that people can't explain, you always get labeled as witchy.
Yes.
How do you handle that? Have you been faced with that? What is your response to that type of naive taboo thinking?
You know, for me, I'm kind of one of those ones that uh, it's a lot upon me anyway.
Hmm.
So it's a certain level of acceptance, all free spirit, all she. You can kind of feel it off of me before you choose to engage with me. Um, I don't care to defend it anymore. It's one of those things that people see it and they feel it, so I don't have to prove it because no matter if they from the church, no matter if they're Jewish, no matter if they skin folk, no matter if they, no matter what it is, people know love when they feel love. People know um care. They know and can feel how you treat them when you talk to them. And so often I'm judged by the work that I do.
Nice.
Yes.
um,
Nice.
and what I present to the public all of the time. Um, so yeah, I don't care to defend it. I just care to put it in my work. Um, and a joke that I like to make sometimes, like whichever route I go, hopefully I go to the light, and the sunbeams with the little cute sheriffs and all these type of things. Just in case, you know, I believe that I have street cred in both places.
Hmm. Hmm.
I believe that I've come across many souls that be like, hey, I remember she, you know, dressed me like this, or she took her time when she gave me my last shampoo, or ooh, I love when she, gave me that massage and put frankincense on the bottom of my feet, or um anything like that. It shows. And the people who don't understand it, it's one of those things where the parents like you just gotta get a little older, you gotta get a little experience. I'm saying that people are showing up in ignorance. I'm just saying sometimes we can't say or speak on things that we hadn't experienced, that hadn't been close up. We don't know what we gonna do. We don't know. Uh, we don't know. So I give people grace with
Yeah.
that. But otherwise, it is what it's gonna be, and somebody gonna need to do it. So whatever title that you give me, um, somebody has to do the work.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
and if this is um sorcery or if this is witchcraft, whether it's me or John in a suit, Um, it's the same work.
That's right. That's right. Well said. Well said.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a big nerd, as y'all both know, and I present myself in a way that a lot of people don't. You know, there's a surface expectation, and I start talking about things, and it's sometimes a shock. It's ooh, I wouldn't have thought about you that way, or it becomes that sort of, not in a negative way, but they're surprised because I don't come out by saying I talk to dead people, I help people die. Like that is not how I lead into anything. Um, but I've stopped trying to explain it, and I'm so if I'm going to do this work, then I'm willing to answer questions, and part of answering those questions is being authentic to how I believe or what I believe, and however you believe is fine too. um, my job is to meet people where they are and bring something to it that's helpful. You don't have to do it the way I suggest. Here are some ideas if you're not sure where to start. How asking questions. I have family members that are concerned for my soul. The irony in that is that I've talked to my grandparents. I've had my grandparents come to me when I was younger and didn't understand all of this completely, asking me to help them die. Not their children, their granddaughter. And I hold that very close because there's a reason they came to their, 19-year-old, 23-year-old granddaughter to help them through this and not their own children.
Mhm.
And and so I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I'm okay with now. It's been difficult, but I'm okay now with the strangeness of the connection I have and just being able to share it. I don't have to, like Rihanna said, I don't have to defend it anymore.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, I really can't speak for anyone else's reality, but I can say for myself, um, when my loved ones passed, because I opened myself up to them being present with me, you know, and they say it in church. They tell you in church. They say to you when they die, they're still with you. So, what is the difference in actually encountering them and you saying it? But that's okay. I don't want to go too far.
But
But
that's a real thing too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, energy is neither created nor destroyed. We have there's something in all of us that we are animated, that we
yeah,
have
yeah,
voice, we participate in the energy of the universe. And that doesn't our bodies might change, right? That's our physical, energy, but our life force doesn't change. And there are way too many near death experiences. There are way too, and children are open. There are way too many children that see things and acknowledge their dead grandparents. There are way too many, dying experiences where people see their loved ones, they see their spouses, they see their, 86-year-old people see their parents come to them. Like there are way too many of those experiences to dismiss them
Right.
as as connections with the transmutation of that life force. It's moving in and it's moving out and it's all around. So I why deny it?
because
Because
it's a form of control. It's a
right,
form of control.
because someone said that, oh, there's only a certain group of people that are supposed to be able to do this. So,
Anywho. Okay, so last thing. If you are encountering, and I want to talk to people now who may not be in a situation where someone is actively transitioning, but they know that it's coming. I want you to share some advice of what they should be doing now. For instance, in my instance, it took me forever to get my mother to tell me where she wanted to be buried. She didn't want to talk about it, but I said exactly what you ladies said. I want to honor your request, not your brothers, not your sisters, not what your church thinks. What is it that you want from me as your eldest daughter when you transition? So, from both perspectives, what conversation should be should people be having now? I'm gonna say candidly, to prepare to prevent a lot of the mental chaos that happens when transitioning is happening.
First thing is first paperwork, paperwork. Um, First questions, mama, daddy, loved one, auntie, cousin, that job that you done worked on for a long time. This money was coming out your pay stub. Did you pay into a life insurance policy on this job? Some jobs give you 10, 20,000. Okay. Well, I need paperwork for that. Okay. Do you have a term or a whole life insurance policy that you've been paying into? Has it lapsed? Where are the documents for this paperwork? How can I have um access to this? Who is your life insurance through?
Okay.
Right?
So
Um
ask about life insurance, long term and short term.
uh-huh. People need to know, because sometimes people buy life insurance and don't really know the difference. They're just like, okay, I'm buying life insurance. And sometimes it might not be what you need
Okay.
or
Okay.
what you need when you need it.
Okay.
So know where all your paperwork, all your documents are.
Okay.
Any policy that you may have paid into, you need to know, okay, I need to go in mama's top drawer in her closet, in the orange envelope to the right is all the information for all of these different policies. My insurance, this my insurance agent. Um if you paying for your like folks bundle their insurances,
Mm-hmm.
a bundle with State Farm, but I also have my life insurance also with that same. So having all your paperwork together, knowing passcodes
Yeah.
and certain information, banking information. So if you have a elderly loved one, especially elderly, but people on accounts, secure beneficiaries that are of legal age to your account. This is not so somebody can, come behind you and get a little $10 from you. No, this is on in case of emergency. When them folks realize that the death notification has come, so your assets won't be frozen,
Ah.
because
So
your family might need to have access to those funds. So if you have a beneficiary, if you have a person that's on your banking accounts, that can have access when that time comes.
okay.
Um, I won't say power of attorneys, because power of attorneys expire when you expire.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, oh yeah, paperwork.
Well, and that goes to my end too, right? I mean, because we've talked a lot about people who are preparing to die, but sometimes deaths are tragic and they're sudden, and they happen without any planning, and that sort of thing needs to, families and individuals need to sort of, once again, this is a reality. Where is all of your legal documentation of your life? Um,
DD 14. Yep,
What was
yeah,
the last part?
DD 214 for military personnel.
yeah. And advanced directives, right? If you have been diagnosed and there's going to be a point in time where you do not, do not resuscitate order, or those types of
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
process of someone who is terminally ill, or someone who's aging, like with dementia, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of practical things that people, rightly so, get swept up in because it has to be done, and it can be a nightmare, to juggle before you can even get to the spiritual aspect of it. Sometimes that could be put on the back burner because the other stuff hasn't been taken care of.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But even in that respect, like, you know, bring up the topic and see how people react. I've
Mhm.
poked the bear a couple of times, and that's when, your family members, your friends well enough to say, well, you know, we don't talk about it. Like, I want this, if you need special care, I want to be there for you. What do you want? How do my dad, quite frankly, said, "You're not changing my diaper." That is a line in the sand for him. I've
Wow.
already arranged it. I've got nurses arranged for that, whether that's the reality or not. But I know how that would emasculate my dad to think that his
Mhm.
was caring for him like a child, and I have to honor that.
Right.
I have to figure out. I have to talk to my brothers and say, "Listen,
Yep.
that's not going to happen. That would humiliate my dad because
And
I brought it up."
that's what I want to bring up too. Talking to your siblings. Um, because Tennessee and other states are are like half state. And what I mean by that is, say the scenario is um dad has 5 children.
I know you going. Mm-hmm.
We want to cremate dad. Okay, we're a majority state. So 2 of the 5 kids are what we might consider outside kids. Okay. And let's say the other 3 children maybe were had in a marriage with the same woman. So these 3 children may be closer than these, how we have our family rifts. Well, at the end of the day, um, majority wins. So if 3 of the siblings say, "Hey, we don't want to cremate dad," that won't happen. If 3 of them say, "Hey, we want to cremate dad," that will happen. Um, if it's say if it's 4 and it's 2 and 2, somebody's going to have to settle that. It can't. There has to be a legal tiebreaker.
Mhm.
If somebody is behind bars, they still have to get the paperwork
I
to
knew
be
that.
signed. They still have a voice and a choice in disposition of their parent.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, a whole lot of family ribs. No, you can't see my mama. No, you can't see my daddy. You weren't there. You, all that type of stuff. And now mama and dada, we done had the funeral, and now we can't proceed with final district disposal because disposition. Why? Why? Because y'all fight. So now we're sitting in limbo and we can't proceed with our business because you want this and he want that. Baby, what are we going to do? What is our mode of final disposition? How can I close out rendering these services for you all?
Yeah.
So getting along with your siblings, and even if you don't get along with your siblings, have a conversation at one of the barbecues so somebody know who gonna be the representative, the
Yep.
spokesperson, not the self-proclaimed. We have a lot of self-proclaimed spokespersons, but just getting along with your folks enough to know, hey, we're going to have to do this. Now, if dad was married, mom was married, that's on the spouse, but if there is no spouse, the siblings gonna have to get it together. The children gonna have to. So yeah, those are paperwork. Knowing where your paperwork. DD 214.
DD, that's what I was waiting on. DD 242. DDT or 214.
214.
Okay. All
So that's your military basically paperwork
right. Mm-hmm.
for
Okay.
being discharged, medically discharged, dishonorably discharged. Because veterans get burial, free burial,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
free headstone. So
Mm-hmm.
you need those things, burial rights. Um, so
Mhm.
when you have like financial challenges and your folks have served, you want to know where their paperwork is now, while they can be like, hey, it's in their top drawer in the orange folder to the right.
This orange folder. Okay.
So.
Well, and Brianna and I have talked about putting together a group that meets monthly in different places, has topical discussions on things just like this,
Mhm.
um, and advertising it, letting people know about it, show up, free of charge, but having people who know even more than we do about these specific things, you know, so that people who are interested, if for themselves, for their family members, I need to know this, and then provide resources so that
Right.
they have access. Oh, I went to a meeting about this. It was a really interesting meeting, but I remember that they have resources because the reality of talking to a doctor, talking to a hospice nurse, talking to the administrator here and there, talking to the funeral home, all the different people that are involved in this process, it is it's just this whiplash, emotional whiplash, and back and forth, and then you add family to it. It's overwhelming for families, and to realize that there are specific resources available, or having a connection they know they can go to get this information and help people understand the information once they have it, is is really needed. It's really needed.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Because you want to get in connection and know what the plan is before it's time to execute the plan,
That's
absolutely.
right.
so
That's
that grief isn't delayed or that it's not chronic.
Yep.
mm,
And it one thing turns into another thing, and it affects you mentally and emotionally long term, because
mhm,
you're so in the thick of the business that you're not able to process that grief, right?
mm,
Um, and yeah, education, because we're all gonna go through it. You
Yep.
know, it's the difference between being able to cover your expenses because, hey, you took advantage of a resource 2 years ago. Life insurance policies must be matured in order for it to count. So if a life insurance policy is not 2 years old, it's not matured. And so you won't be able to use that. Certain information like that is what you need to know.
Yeah.
wow.
Certain information where people are like, oh yeah, I'm on a fixed income. I can't afford this. I can't for a lot of things that we like to do um, and take advantage of. $30 a month, somebody will come up to your job, will come up to your house, give you a little finger prick and count your weight and all that and see about you for some life insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
2 for 20 for the kids. You know what I'm saying? For $20 a month, both of my children are insured.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to talk about it in a real way to where it's doable. It's not, oh, I got MLGNW and I got this, and for a full tank of gas, you can insure your life for this month
Mhm.
Yeah.
and add on so your policy can mature. This is the way that you show love. And this is also life insurance is also an asset.
Hmm.
And so when we talk about in communities, generational wealth building, life insurance policies are one of the ways that we can ensure generational wealth for
Mm,
our families. Because life insurance are investments.
Hmm.
You fall on hard time and you got you a good um, universal life policy, you might can borrow from that. Um, make financial it's a financial asset, an investment for sure. So when you have your little cousins and everybody that you know and you love, with their consent, you are able to get a policy on them. So if you are in a common law type of situation where this has been your partner for forever and y'all might not want marriage, which we know uh, marital law supersedes, certain things. Get you a policy. Baby mama, baby daddy, y'all have to raise these children together. You know what I'm saying? And there's no promise. Y'all not looking for a relationship or anything. Get a life insurance policy on each other, because one of you all will still be left to sustain the family.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just want to put that out there that those are financial investment tools that will carry your generation to the next generation and will
Mm,
give them a leg up as well.
And this is where, we're talking about a lot of legal stuff, right? Attorneys that do estate planning need to work with people like us. I mean, we need to have a network of resources of people that take care of others in these situations,
mhm.
spiritually, financially, medically. We need to be able to be connected to one another instead of having these compartmentalized aspects of this process that every human being is going to go through. Like, we're these woo-woo people out here doing these weird things. Well, I don't, the last 10 minutes, these haven't been weird things. We haven't
No.
talked about anything weird. It's really practical.
Mhm,
A
mhm.
spiritual person that wants to really do something, sacred in this process, you got to do the practical stuff too.
That's right.
So having the conversations about all of it is only beneficial. I mean, it makes something that's very frightening to most people
Hmm.
more, at the very least, more palatable
Yeah.
and real in a way that's not scary, because when you're in the moment, when you get the diagnosis, you get the phone call, your loved one becomes ill, aging catches up faster than you think it's going to be, then it's a whole different emotional um, connection to all the necessary things that have to be done.
Thank you, ladies.
You're
Thank
right.
you, ladies. This was a very comforting conversation. This was a very comforting conversation, and a necessary conversation. Again, about a subject that a lot of us do not want to talk about. So I'm really hoping that people will really take the time and take notes when listening to this interview. I typed a lot of things that you all said that you need to go ahead and talk about and be asking for, and know where this orange folder is in the back of the closet on the right hand side. Nobody wants to be trying to go through their mother's closet and father's, not, just know where it is. And so if we can center around one of our barbecues or one of our Sunday dinners around how are we going to handle the practical, logistical side of if such and such happens. I appreciate it so much. And I love, love, love the fact, I'm just biased because I'm a woman, but I love that it's women
Yeah.
being in their nurturing natural place of being able to help people through this process. So I honor both of you all and where you are in this process. And I really do love the idea of the community coming together and talking with you guys. And I am going to speak that whoever's listening, if you know a lawyer, if you know a medical professional, if you know a counselor, if you know anyone who would be willing to sit in on these community meetings, please feel free. Both of these ladies are by their names on Facebook. I know that for sure. Reach out to them and let them know that you're willing to be part of this community because it's needed. It's
Hmm.
needed. It's needed. I thank you. I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant, beautiful spirits. I'm really honored to know you both.
I love y'all back.
So y'all be good, and I'll talk to y'all later. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. What a beautiful, refreshing interview. I can't speak for anybody else, but I know that there are times when we're afraid to talk about something or there's a difficult topic. But when you get the courage and you pull up your bootstraps and you go ahead and have the conversation, you are in such a sense of relief, and the pressure is taken off of you when you finally have that difficult conversation. And I believe that's what Bess and Brianna just did. For those of you who are out there struggling with aging parents, they may be healthy and well, but it is the time to start having those conversations and preparing. I think I can speak for both of them. Even if you do reach out and need assistance, if they're unable to help you, I'm sure that they can at least point you in the direction or give you some pointers or give you at least the comfort in knowing that you're doing the right thing or you could be doing this, that, and the other. So please don't feel alone. Please don't allow yourself to get wrapped up in a situation where you are. Brianna made a beautiful statement, and Beth has mentioned this to me before. When you are losing a loved one or you've lost a loved one, you're so caught up in finding the paperwork and reaching out to insurance companies that you've postponed your grief, and then your grief shows up down the line, and now you're back into your normal work life. So now if you're gonna have to grieve, it's not a step that you can skip, because it's gonna force its way into your life. So as a community, not by color, not by race, not by creed, not by age, just as humans, let's do what we can to do to prepare to make sure that we honor the desires of our loved ones so that they can transition peacefully and we can grieve the way we need to so that we can carry on and be ready to tap into them checking on us every once in a while. So thank you so much for joining in. I know this was a heavy topic, but it was so necessary. And know that you are in a community full of people who have experience, who have love, and who have open arms here to help you. Thank you so much for joining me on Relationship Rhetoric. As always, I love you. And think about it. This is something to think about. This is not something just at the end of this interview, you stop thinking about it. Make plans to have that conversation sooner than later. I'll see you next Thursday.